Right now at 5, the trial related to a triple homicide is underway.
You're watching WKBT La Crosse. This is News 8 Now at 5.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us for News 8 Now at 5. I'm Ken Kozarowski. The trial is underway for a man charged in connection to a 2021 triple homicide. 35-year-old Nia Tao is charged with 3 counts of first-degree intentional homicide and possession of a firearm by a felon as a party to a crime. News 8 Now's Dua Israr was at the jury selection today and takes a look back at the case. Dua?
Ken, the triple homicide was the first in La Crosse County in nearly 3 decades. Attorneys took roughly 6 hours to select a jury for Tao this morning. In July of 2021, 24-year-olds Peng Lor and Nemo Yang and 23-year-old Trevor Maloney were found dead at the Ramskog Quarry on County Highway M. According to the criminal complaint, all 3 men had been shot several times in the head and torso. 35-year-old Nia Tao and 45-year-old Katham Maneth Ratanasak were arrested shortly after. In the criminal complaint, Ratanasak accused Yang of stealing $600 from him. A relative offered to pay the debt, but Ratanasak said he wanted Yang's life. A witness told police Ratanasak and Tao forced her to drive the men out to the quarry. Police said Ratanasak handed the gun to Tao, who shot the 3 men. Both Ratanasak and Tao pleaded not guilty to all charges. Now, last month, Ratanasak was scheduled to enter a plea, but it was delayed. Tao will be back in court tomorrow morning. Ken?
All right, Dua, thanks very much. Tao faces a mandatory sentence of life imprisonment if he is convicted of first-degree intentional homicide.
Well, today was a little bit cooler in terms of our high temperatures this afternoon, as highs were mainly into the 70s, and typically our highs are usually in those upper 70s to low 80s this time of the year. Moving forward, as we head into tonight, our temperatures will be a little bit more seasonable into the 50s and 60s under cloudy skies and slight chances of showers, also possible for some of us as well. Zone forecast in West Salem, 53 tonight, 55 for you in Berry Mills, lows at 53 in Viroqua, 55 tonight in La Crescent, and same temperature in Stoddard tonight as well. Meanwhile, in Arcadia, 53 tonight for you, 51 in Melrose and Blair, Chippewa Valley, low tonight mainly into those low 50s with slight chances of some showers. Now we'll talk more about some of those showers and plus what we can expect for the rest of this week coming up and my full weather forecast in just a few minutes. Back to you.
All right, Derek, thanks very much. In the meantime, former President Donald Trump is preparing to make his first court appearance following the 37-count indictment related to his handling of classified documents. Christian Benavides is in Miami, where security preparations are underway ahead of Tuesday's arraignment.
Supporters cheered as former President Donald Trump arrived at his Doral golf course ahead of his federal court appearance in Miami Tuesday.
There's no doubt in my mind that this is a political persecution.
Trump has called for his supporters to come to Miami. Mayor Francis Suarez says his city can handle protests related to Trump's arraignment.
Believe in the Constitution and believe that people should have the right to express themselves, but we also believe in law and order.
Multiple law enforcement officials tell CBS News online rhetoric calling for violence has increased in the wake of the indictment. Law enforcement agencies are combing through the posts looking for potential threats. So far, no credible, specific threat has been identified.
I can't speak for everyone, but I'm going to do everything I can humanly possibly do that's legal before a civil war, because that's what you guys are heading for.
Trump maintains he is innocent and he is using the case to raise money in his bid to get back to the White House.
I mean, the only good thing about it is it's driven my poll numbers way up. Can you believe that?
The latest CBS News poll taken after the indictment shows Trump gaining ground on his competitors among likely GOP primary voters, and his challengers seem to be walking a fine line responding to the allegations.
This case is a serious case with serious allegations, but in America, you're still innocent until proven guilty.
Trump plans to fly back to New Jersey Tuesday for a fundraiser after he leaves court. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Doral, Florida.
38% of likely Republican primary voters say Trump keeping classified or military documents does not pose a national security risk. That compares to 80% of the rest of voters in the survey. Activists are speaking out after a committee at the Galesville-Ettrick Trempealeau School District voted to take a book off its shelves. News 8 Now's Emily Haugen joins us live outside GET High School, where the board will soon be talking policy. Good evening, Emily.
Ken, last Tuesday, a committee at GET schools voted to pull the book Queer Ducks, The Natural History of Animal Sexuality from its middle school shelves. School board members say that vote was taken back because the committee didn't follow the correct procedure. So that means they'll have to vote on it again in a separate meeting. The Seven Rivers LGBTQ Connection in La Crosse put out a release condemning the ban. The center's executive director, Elisa Schaldemeyer, says she felt it was important to speak up.
If we hide and ban all the books and we hide all of those resources, you know, these kids are going to feel like they're alone. Over 2,000 titles in our library, which is right there. I was going to say.
Banning books directed towards marginalized groups sets a dangerous precedent. The center plans to have representatives at tonight's school board meeting. Now, board members tell me there likely won't be a decision tonight, but they will discuss procedure for committees like this. Live in Galesville, this is Emily Haugen for News 8 Now. Ken, back to you.
All right, Emily, thanks very much. And that meeting starts at 6:30 tonight at GET High School in Galesville. A large La Crosse nonprofit is moving to a new location on the city's lower north side. The building is at 811 Monitor Street. Getting into a new location was a top priority for FCC's leaders. The nonprofit's president says they wanted a location that's easier for their clients to access.
We wanted to make sure that the building was in a location that was easily accessible to our clients and to our staff. We wanted to make sure that the experience that our clients and staff had in the building was a good experience.
Now, the new building will have larger office spaces and better security. Leaders say the new location will help grow their capacity to handle child abuse prevention and their existing programs. A Madison woman has started a new journey over this past weekend. April Scheel has cerebral palsy and started hiking during the pandemic. She's hiked many miles before, but now has set a new goal of hiking the 1,200-mile Ice Age Trail.
For me, it's, you know, when I struggle, I'm just putting one foot in front of the other. I'm just walking. And maybe you can't walk. Maybe you ride. Maybe you crawl. However it is in your own power, you can make big things happen if you just have to have the determination.
That's an inspirational sentiment. This past Saturday, Scheel hiked the first segment of the trail. That was 4 miles. Plans to finish the trail in segments by the end of the summer. We wish you luck. Just ahead, the owner of a collapsed Iowa building is in court. The judge hands down a decision in a civil proceeding. We'll have those details in just a bit.
The news continues on News 8 Now. Expect more.
State and federal investigators are on the scene of a collapsed section of Interstate 95 in Philadelphia. I-95 is a major north-south highway all along the East Coast. And now hundreds of thousands of motorists and truck drivers are being rerouted to avoid the area. Stephanie Stahl is in Philly with the latest.
This was the inferno that commuters drove through early Sunday along I-95 in Philadelphia. Underneath an overpass, a gasoline tanker had crashed, sparking a fire so hot it brought down part of the freeway. Frank Graber says he felt the road buckle underneath him.
I felt a drop like a roller coaster. So I was like, well, that wasn't very smart because I could have fell right in the fire.
Pennsylvania's governor says it appears at least one vehicle is still in the rubble.
We're still working to identify any individual or individuals who may have been caught in the fire and the collapse.
Before Sunday's collapse, that section of I-95 handled roughly 160,000 vehicles a day. Now it's closed in both directions indefinitely for miles.
Everyone's just going to have to adjust. We're probably going to have to wake up a little earlier, show up on time.
The collapsed overpass was part of a $212 million reconstruction project that was completed 4 years ago. A team from the National Transportation Safety Board is on the ground investigating.
Our focus right now from a DOT perspective is doing everything we can do to help PennDOT get that section of I-95 up and running. Obviously for both vehicle passenger traffic and for goods movement supply chains. This is going to be a major disruption in that region, and it's really going to affect the whole Northeast.
Local officials say rebuilding this section of I-95 could take months. Janelle Burrell, CBS News, Philadelphia.
In the meantime, the owner of a partially collapsed building in Davenport, Iowa, pleaded guilty to a civil infraction for not maintaining safe conditions. In court documents filed in Scott County on Monday, Andrew Wold was ordered to pay a $300 fine plus court costs. The building collapsed over Memorial Day weekend, killing 3 people and leaving dozens without a place to live. Wold was not at the hearing. His attorney entered his plea. This isn't the last of Wold's legal issues. The resident of the building, one of them, is currently suing him. Officials in western New York say one person died after a boat capsized during an underground cave tour. All 29 people on board were thrown into the water, which was roughly 4 to 6 feet deep in most spots. The area's fire chief says a 60-year-old man who died was stuck under the boat.
Personnel, we have an inflatable boat that we can launch virtually anywhere through the use of compressed air. We put rescuers on that boat to go down that 300-feet corridor, and we were able to bring back 3 or 4 people at a time. Altogether, about 16 were rescued via boat. Everybody else was able to walk that corridor back to the original launch spot.
Authorities say the rescue operation took about an hour. The man's wife was also on board. She was taken to a local hospital. Police are considering the area a crime scene while the investigation continues. Since 1977, the tour has taken place about 20 miles east of Niagara Falls along the Erie Canal. Coming up tonight, new legislation on alcohol getting the fast track in the Wisconsin legislature. The average consumer may not notice a difference, but the Republican measure does create an office to the State Department of Revenue.
I do have rain chances in the forecast for tonight and also into tomorrow. Stay with us here on News 8 Now. I'll have a check on the full weather forecast coming up after the break. Well, today our temperatures were a little bit cooler than average this afternoon as highs were mainly into the 70s. For tonight in La Crosse County, I'm expecting a little bit more seasonable in terms of temperatures as lows tonight will be into the low 50s. 54 in Soldiers Grove, 53 in Westby, and moving back to our central zones, you can see low nights into those low to mid 50s with 50 Black River Falls, but further west a little bit warmer in Arcadia tonight, 53 there for you, and 54 tonight in areas like Trempealeau. Meanwhile, towards the north in the Chippewa Valley, lows mainly into the low 50s there with a chance of some passing showers moving in from the north. So the forecast overall tonight, 55 degrees with cloudy skies, some showers here possible, and north-northwest winds light at 5 to 10 miles an hour. For the day tomorrow, another cool one, 76 degrees being the temperature, and some scattered showers also possible, northwest winds at 10 to 15 miles an hour. I check now on your zone forecast for the day tomorrow in La Crosse County into the mid-70s, 76 in Berry Mills, further south 73 in Soldiers Grove, 71 in Westby, but 68 there in Hillsboro, 73 in Melrose tomorrow, 72 Black River Falls, 69 down south in Cashton, and highs in the Chippewa Valley mainly into those mid to upper 70s with a high of 78 expected tomorrow afternoon in Eau Claire. So taking a look at Sky Tracker as we take you into early tomorrow morning at 5 a.m., we could be waking up to some scattered showers passing in from the north, and you can see that we will be looking at most of those showers here back towards our east as we head into 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. A lot of these showers wrapping around this area of low pressure, kind of meandering across the Great Lakes region as well. So that's why we're kind of going to watch out for some of those passing showers as we head into tomorrow afternoon and also into early tomorrow evening. Now, as we head into early Wednesday morning, you can see most of the precipitation should come to a close. A few passing clouds still very possible, though, even as we head into tomorrow morning, just around the sunrise hour or so. And by 3 p.m. on Wednesday, a couple of scattered afternoon clouds, a couple of light spotty showers are possible near the Chippewa Valley, and then they will continue to move south as we head into Wednesday night. All right, let's get checked now on your 8-day forecast, and you can see that we will be warming up after tomorrow. Highs return to the 80s by Wednesday, and that trend continues throughout the next several days thereafter. And just a mix of clouds and sun. Overall, pretty dry and a warm pattern there after tomorrow, and low temperatures mainly into the 50s and low 60s.
All right, Derek, thanks very much. Republican lawmakers and the alcohol industry have been working on a measure secretly for the last 5 years, but it's now quickly moving through the GOP-controlled legislature here in Wisconsin. This proposal, expected to pass in the next 2 weeks, And it would lead to a change in the state's alcohol laws and stricter enforcement efforts, creating a new division within the State Department of Revenue that would oversee liquor laws and enforcement of ignored laws, such as banning shipments of liquor or beer. Now, most of the changes would not be noticeable to the average alcohol consumers in the state. Those who worked closely on the bill said those details. The Federal Trade Commission plans to file in federal court to prevent a deal between Microsoft and a video game company. It's according to a person familiar with the $69 billion Microsoft and Activision Blizzard merger. Now, the filing, which is not yet public, is going to ask the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California for a temporary restraining order that could keep the companies from finalizing the acquisition while the FTC's in-house court is deliberating on the deal. The FTC sued Microsoft in the agency's administrative court in December, challenging the deal as anti-competitive. UK competition regulators have also challenged this deal, which promises to make Microsoft the world's third largest video game publisher after Tencent and Sony. The acquisition would give Microsoft control over popular franchises including Call of Duty and World of Warcraft. Microsoft didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. When we come back, a type of recycling we don't always think about, but one that experts say could make a world of difference.
Tuesday on News 8 Now this morning, a senior living community is rolling out robotic food servers to aid staff. And we'll have the latest in local and national sports in your morning sports blitz. Have a great Monday night. More News 8 Now is after the break.
You expect more, so thank you for watching News 8 Now.
A new study shows obesity damages the brain in a way that keeps people eating more. Researchers took 30 obese people and 30 people of normal weight and fed them fats and sugars using feeding tubes. This was to eliminate the influence of taste and smell. Then using an MRI, they looked at their brain signals, and the people of normal weight showed brain activity indicating the person felt full, including in the brain's reward centers. Now, the obese people did not show the same activity, indicating their brains did not think they were full or satisfied. After the obese people lost 10% of their body weight, this did not change. That indicates once the brain has adapted to obesity, it may not return to normal even after someone loses weight. And this would make it much more likely they would gain the weight back. Many of us recycle plastics, cardboard, and cans, but many people don't know you can also recycle your clothes. Joy Benedict shows us how.
Alicia Riccardi goes through her dresser and her closet twice a year.
I'll donate as much as I can, and if I can't, I recycle it.
That's right, recycle. She posted this video on social media, trading in her old clothes at H&M and Madewell, getting coupons for her donation.
I saw that years ago that they were taking old jeans and you could turn them in and get $20 off a new pair there.
Madewell takes your unwearable denim and turns it into insulation for homes. H&M turns old clothes into new clothes, part of a push globally to keep clothes out of landfills. Rachel Wagner is the director of Cal Recycle.
It's really interesting because people think about clothing as being biodegradable, but organic materials like cotton, they break down in the landfill as methane. Methane is 84 times more potent in the environment than carbon dioxide. So it is a huge climate pollutant.
Instead of throwing clothes out, you can hand them down or donate them to charity. Another option, take them to a secondhand store. Tanner Hake is a regular shopper.
A lot of the brands too, you can look in here, they're good quality brands that just need a little love. So you can bring them on in here, then they can get a second life.
These will probably go to Madewell.
Riccardi says she's happy to spend a little time sorting through her clothes and do her part to make those old blue jeans green. Joy Benedict, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Some great ideas. Derek's got a last look at your forecast right after this.
Last check on your 8-day forecast for tomorrow. Scattered showers, a high of 76, so cooler than average again with our highs. Now, by Wednesday, I expect high temperatures to warm back up into the 80s. Highs remain to the 80s throughout the rest of the week with a mix of sun and clouds, and low temperatures into the 50s and low 60s.
Thanks for joining us tonight at 5.